Hello and welcome to 7th Circle Gaming, possibly the last channel on YouTube to finally get a title page. Now today we're going to be analyzing, as the title of the video suggests, the game Kaiserpunk. We will start off, as we always do around here, with a bit of full disclosure. And of course you're welcome to pause the video and read through everything if you like, but if reading isn't really your thing, just let the video run. Let's start off today's video by taking a brief look at the overworld map for Kaiserpunk. From what we can see here, the map of the game world is very much based on our real world. All the continents are exactly in the places we would expect them to be. The developers have even thoughtfully included the island of New Zealand. Let's move on now to the user interface. The user interface at this level of the game is restricted to the edges of the screen, leaving the majority of the play space free to render the in-game world. However, it would not be far off to describe the user interface as cramming a lot into a little area. There are frankly too many icons in different menus to discuss, or we'd be here forever, so we're going to restrict ourselves to just the top of the screen. Starting off at the top left-hand corner of the screen, we have the national flag icon, which doubles as the national overview menu. At the very top center of the screen, we have the in-game time management menu. Surrounding this is the resources indicator. At the top right hand corner of the screen there are two circular icons. The leftmost of these is going to activate what the game calls the radial menu, which activates a bunch of different statistics overviews and the settings menu. At the top right hand corner of the screen, the other circular icon, which looks more like a compass rose, is the button that shifts the player's perspective from this overworld map to the more isometric style city builder view. That's all for the overworld map, so we now are going to move on and look at the isometric or city builder view. We don't have an awful lot of differences from what we saw before. The majority of the changes are going to be at the bottom of the screen. At the bottom left hand corner of our screen we now have a mini-map. And at the bottom center of the screen, we have our build menu. At the center left and center right of the screen, we have notifications bars, much as we saw them before. Players are provided the opportunity to create a custom faction in the game, although from all of our evaluation sessions, how much this really impacts a run-through is not entirely clear. One key element of Kaiserpunk is the idea of development points. For each structure that players construct in their cities, they will accrue a number of development points in one of the areas that you can see on the screen now. Accumulating these development points automatically unlocks new structures in the resource management chain. That's all the screenshots for this video, so now we're going to move on and look at some gameplay footage. This footage comes from early in a playthrough of the game, so as to avoid any story spoilers. That's all for us from the moment, at least until we get to our first proper chapter, so we'll let you watch the rest of this gameplay footage without additional comment. For immersion, the game Kaiserpunk has earned a score of 6.5 out of 15. Based on all of our evaluation sessions, the game seems to rely primarily on presentation, player agency, and challenge to create immersion. What you're seeing now on the screen are all of the difficulty options available to players of Kaiserpunk. From all of our evaluation sessions, there are no options in the settings menu that can adversely affect the level of challenge. For difficulty, Kaiserpunk has earned a score of 6 out of 15. The majority of that score coming from, as much as our evaluation sessions could determine, that the game doesn't reinvent the wheel. What already works is unchanged. For lasting appeal, the game has earned a score of 4 out of 15. the majority of that score coming from the number of options that Kaiserpunk provides players with. For overall score then, the game has earned a score of 5.5 out of 15, which is below average, but only by 2 points. The game's setting is somewhat unusual, being the early 20th century. And that's all the objectivity we can manage for this video, so we're now going to move on to some highly subjective statements, so please have your salt handy. Based on all of our evaluation sessions, the strategy that most often resulted in success was the slow and steady one, which means the game is a long-term commitment. The game lacks a delete save file button, which means players are going to need to manually search through their directories to delete save files that they no longer want. The game's price is fairly typical for the city builder genre, but that includes some very established names like SimCity and Command & Conquer. So if the game does appeal to you based on anything that we've said here, we would suggest waiting for a sale. Well, that's all from 7th Circle Gaming for this particular video. Congratulations to everyone who watched all the way to the end. We do very much appreciate that. If you liked this video, go ahead and give it a like. Subscribe to the channel for more of these highly objective analyses. Suggest a game that you would very much like to see analyzed in the comments section below, and until the next video, from us here at 7th Circle Gaming, goodbye.